Welcome to a place where hearts unwind, infinite threads that gently bind, love and compassion in every line. Together we rise through space and time.
Welcome back to Infinite Threads. I'm your host, Bob. Most of us are taught to think about our lives in terms of milestones. What we accomplish, what we build, what we leave behind in visible, tangible ways. But the longer you live, the clearer something becomes. Very little of what truly shapes the world can be measured that way. Long after the events fade, long after the words are forgotten, long after the details blur, something else remains. A tone, a feeling, an emotional residue, the thread you leave behind. Every human life weaves itself into others, whether intentionally or not. Through presence, through absence, through moments that felt small at the time but turned out to be, pivotal. You don't always know when you're creating one of those moments. Most of the time you're just being yourself, showing up, responding, making choices that feel ordinary while you're making them. But those moments, they don't disappear. They settle. They live on in how people remember safety, in how they remember kindness, in how they remember being seen or unseen. The thread you leave behind is not about perfection. It's not about never making mistakes or always saying the right thing. It's about the direction your presence moves things. Did people feel more human after encountering you? More grounded? More able to breathe? Or did they leave feeling smaller, tighter, more guarded? These are not questions meant to shame. They're invitations to awareness. Because once you see that your presence leaves a thread, you realize something quietly powerful. You are shaping the future in ways that you will never witness. Not through grand gestures, but just through consistency, through the way you speak when you're tired, through the way you listen when it would be easier to disengage, through the way you handle conflict, disappointment, and difference. Every choice leaves a trace, and those traces accumulate. We often imagine legacy as something distant, something that only matters at the end of life. But legacy is being written every day. In conversations you'll never remember, in brief encounters you didn't think mattered, in moments where someone was watching you more closely than you realized. You may never know the full impact of your thread. You may never hear how something you said became a turning point. You may never see how your steadiness gave someone permission to remain kind in a hard season. But the absence of visibility does not mean the absence of effect. Some of the strongest threads are invisible. They move beneath the surface. They show up years later as resilience, as compassion, as a refusal to harden. When you choose love, especially in moments when it would be easier not to, you are reinforcing a pattern. You are saying without words, this is how humans can be with one another. And that message travels. It doesn't always travel fast, unfortunately. It doesn't always travel far, but it travels faithfully. The thread you leave behind is also shaped by how you repair, by how you apologize, by how you return when you've pulled away, by how you acknowledge harm instead of defending it. Repair strengthens the weave. It tells the people around you that mistakes don't end connection, that accountability and love can coexist, that wholeness is not fragile. This matters more than we often realize because people carry these experiences forward. They replicate them, they model them, they pass them along, sometimes consciously, sometimes not. And suddenly, a moment that felt inconsequential becomes part of a much larger pattern. This is how change actually happens, quietly, incrementally, through lived example rather than argument. The thread you leave behind doesn't need to be impressive. It needs to be honest. It needs to reflect who you truly are, not who you were trying to be seen as. And here's the gentle truth. You are already leaving a thread right now in the way you navigate this very moment, in the way you choose to stay present rather than withdraw, in the way you continue to engage with life even when it's heavy. The question isn't whether you'll leave something behind. The question is what quality that thread will have. Will it be tight and brittle, woven from fear and self-protection? Or will it be flexible and warm, woven from care, curiosity, and love? It's a decision. You don't have to decide all at once. You decide moment by moment, and each choice reinforces the weave. So if you're wondering whether your life matters, whether your presence has weight, whether the quiet choices you make are enough, let this reassure you. They're not just enough, they are everything. Because long after the noise fades, long after the world moves on, what remains is how we made one another feel. That is the thread. And it lasts. It lasts forever. I love you guys very, very much. And you know what I need you to do, right? Go out and pass that on, okay? Later, Gators. Bye-bye.